Hey, what's up, everybody? We're here at the 700 Credit Repair Billy Alt's Mastermind. I'm here with Bubba Marlboro with Prolific Cleaning Solutions here in Rockwall, Texas. Coming to you, talking to Bubba. I just met Bubba. Bubba's a big, tough guy. He's bare-knuckle boxing champ. He's in the business of disinfecting and cleaning. And just wanted to sit down with Bubba for 30 minutes and kind of talk about where he's from. Where'd you grow up, man?
I grew up in Weston, Mississippi. It's a little small town. We don't even have a red light.
I hear that twang.
Yeah, so we don't even have a red light. Well, we have one red light. It's a blinking red light.
Just one?
Yeah, just one. But it's just a blinking red light. It ain't even got a green color on it. So, yeah, that's where I grew up. Lived there for the majority of my life. And then I moved down to Mississippi Gulf Coast for a little while. Then I met my fiance, and then I moved back to her hometown with her, and that's where I reside now.
Okay, right on. And growing up, how was your upbringing? You play sports in high school and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So I was really big into football and powerlifting. You know, from that, I grew up on a farm, so powerlifting just came hand in hand with
Country
that.
strong.
That's right. So but we did that, and then I kind of got out of – when I graduated high school, I had to find something to kind of keep my interest and keep me moving. So we kind of just migrated into mixed martial arts.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, obviously MMA is big now, but probably back when you were getting into it, it certainly was in its infancy in terms of the popularity that it knows now. It certainly wasn't as popular then.
No, it wasn't that big. So we did a lot of training in gravel pits.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Man,
so,
they make movies about this shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we did a lot of training. I say it was training. It was just basically a bunch of country folks just getting together and just fighting, and then we'd shake
taking
hands.
each other's heads off.
Yeah, that's it, man. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. We just did it, We thought we were doing something. Then, I kind of got with the gym, started learning techniques, and then my MMA career went from there.
That's awesome.
Yep.
The MMA, I know MMA, especially when it first started out, even if you were winning fights, a lot of times it wasn't enough to make a living out of. What were you doing as a side hustle, or maybe even as a main hustle, or half and half to make your living and provide for your family?
Yeah, so at the time I was a single man. I really didn't have a family, but I also worked in paper mills. I started out as a Boilermaker back in the day. I'd work a shutdown, turn around, and then I would fight. I'd work at bars as a bar hop or security. Whatever they needed me to do, I'd fill in. And then that's kind of how I made my living, because MMA, when you're in the amateur bracket, you don't make nothing but travel money. They'll pay you to come travel. When you even get into the pros, you really don't even make that much money at all. Even the UFC fighters now, they're not making top money like people think they are.
People think they're making a lot. Dana's got that thing on lockdown for sure.
That's right.
They're not making even enough to retire on, really. So you're doing odd jobs, fighting. Obviously, you had a passion for the fighting, or you wouldn't have been doing it, right? Because it wasn't paying you a ton. Why do you fight? What do you love about it?
Yeah. So when I first started fighting, I guess my love grew when it came to the point. It kept me active. It kept me young. It kept me doing something. Kept me moving. I felt like forward. I was building a name for myself. I come from a small town, so at that time, I just wanted to make a big name for myself. I just wanted to be, because I come up, my mom was a drug addict. My dad was a drunk, was never really in my life. I think I count 5 times on my hands from remembering spending time with him. And I think I just wanted to make a name for myself, because I didn't get it from the family. So I just wanted to really make a name for myself at that time.
So it sounds like you grew up with a fair share of adversity from the time you were real, real young.
Oh, absolutely. So, the only thing I really recall really learning, ethic-wise, growing up, before I became a father, was a work ethic I learned from my grandpa. Like I said, I grew up on the farm with him a lot. I did a lot of summers with him, putting up fence, He had a hog farm, and, so I learned a really good work ethic.
It's hard work.
Yeah. So from that, I just kind of migrated into when I got into fighting. There was better athletes out there. There was better technical people out there to me. I'm not a naturally athletic person. Like, when I'm not training 100%, I'm not dieting 100%. I'm naturally a big guy. I gain weight super fast, so I'm just not naturally athletic. So I just felt like if I was going to beat anybody, I just had to outwork them.
Yeah, sounds like you're a pretty gritty guy. Put an obstacle in front of you, and that's just all in a day's work.
That's right, man. I don't like the word no. I don't like somebody telling me I can't do something.
I love it.
So those two things right there really get under my skin. And when somebody tells me I can't do something, or somebody tells me no, that can't happen, I really just double down on it, and I just prove them wrong.
Yeah, man. I mean, the doubling down, especially when you're betting on yourself, right? I mean, there's nothing in life that builds confidence faster than when things are going wrong and you go, you know what, I'm not going to quit, and I do believe in the process, and I do believe in myself, and I'm going to see this thing through to the end.
That's right, man. I feel like at the end of the day, if you can do that, then you can always rely on one person. That one person is yourself to get you through anything you need to in life. Regardless, I put religion aside. If you can just rely on yourself, okay, no, I can't rely on nobody else. If you can put in the work, you can get to wherever the hell you want to in life.
Yeah, I mean, that's an awesome lesson for any of our young viewers.
That's right.
Right? You've got kids now?
Yes, I got 3 kids. I got a 7-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 5-month-old.
And I know you fought through a little bit of adversity on the home front. You don't have to go into that, but it's just, again, about how you've shaped your own mindset. That when adversity presents itself, you see it as an opportunity, right? Not as something to fold your tent and cry in your beer over.
That's right, man. So, I had my oldest little boy, he's 7, so I was 26 when I had him. If you would have asked me at 25, I never wanted kids. 26 happened, child on the way. I wouldn't trade being a father for anything in this world. And, growing up with the adversity with my mother being an addict, my dad being a drunk, and never really in my life, some people take that and they don't learn nothing from it. I learned that they taught me how not to be a parent. I love my mom, and, we have a, iffy relationship now, but she taught me, and, my dad taught me how not to be a parent. So, I'm trying to be the best. Every day I wake up, I keep my kids at the forefront of my mind at whatever task I'm tackling that day. I'm doing it for them. Here today, I'm doing it for them.
I like your mindset, man. No matter what happens, so if it's really positive or really negative, really good or really fucking bad, there's always something to be learned, right? So you didn't have the greatest upbringing, but you learned from your mom and your dad, like you just said, what not to do. That might be even more valuable than some folks who grow up with an outstanding upbringing and have had all the greatest insights on how to be the greatest parents. You know everything not to do, which probably means you do everything or damn near everything right.
Yeah, that's right, man. And it blew my mind growing up with, people that had a better life to me, growing up. They're 15th, 16th birthday rolled around, they were getting a new truck. They had a great life. But then I would hear them speak at school about how much they didn't like their mom because they got on. They got punished. They did something wrong and they got in trouble for it. I'm thinking, man, you got a great fucking life. You don't know. You got it great. You don't know what it's like not to have all the things that you have. I went through that. So I would get up every day, work my ass off, so my children never have to experience what I experienced growing up. Okay, and it was tough, man. It's tough, having to go to school from, not having any school supplies. School rolls around. First day of school, and you ain't got no school supplies. Everybody else got their school supplies. You don't even have your school money. My parents didn't even have your money for a school supply list, So, all that taught me lessons in life of, how not to be a parent. So,
that's a testament, man. And the fact that you never grew up, would you say that when you were growing up, your grandfather was kind of like a mentoring figure to you?
Oh, absolutely. My grandfather, he passed away my senior year. He was the only father figure I had, and he taught me a lot of valuable life lessons. I spent every day, even when I lived, back with my mother, because I lived with my grandparents a good bit, and I moved back in with my mom. My mom was on and off drugs or whatever. And but every, summer I would spend at my grandparents' house, and I would learn so much from my grandfather, just through the lessons of hard work. And, I could do what he'd tell me, even though he didn't do it, at the time I had a juvenile mindset. He would tell me, you could be anything and do anything you want in life, but that embedded in my brain. Even though he didn't do it, that's still embedded in my brain at a young age.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. When so I know you met. When did you end up connecting with Billy, and how did you connect with him? Connecting with him on Facebook, like a lot of people do?
Yeah. So 2000, I want to say it was 18, rolled around, and I'm not that. I haven't been in the entrepreneur space for that hell of a long time. 2017, I really started my journey. 2018 rolled around. I went to an event here in Dallas, Ryan Stewman's event. I went did that, and then I got into a mentorship program, a coaching program, his Apex program, and then I kind of met Billy through that channel right there. Connected with him and Cole really well, and we just stayed connected ever since. Even after I got out the program or whatever, I stayed connected with Billy and Cole.
Yeah, and I think that program taught us all how to connect with your audience, right? So
That's
whatever
right.
business you're in, if you're a realtor or Billy's in the credit repair space, you're in the industrial commercial cleaning space and disinfecting
That's right.
space now. How long have you been in that?
Since May,
Okay.
it's a startup basically. So I'll tell you how I kind of got into it. Back in March, my fiance, she was 34 weeks pregnant with our little girl, and she tested positive for COVID. That's kind of like when COVID was like fresh on the scene, So it was kind of like a lot of things in the air. We didn't know a lot. And so I knew that there was chemicals out there through my fighting career, that we used to have a guy come in and fog our gym. So I knew there was
Absolutely
chemicals out there that were better than bleach, better than Fortnite, better than Lysol, So one day I've done a lot of research. I was looking for foggers. I was looking for chemicals, and I just really couldn't pinpoint what I really needed. But then I seen Billy fogging, and so I reached out to Billy. We linked up. I talked to Billy because and then we ended up making an order, getting our chemicals, got a fogger. I cleaned my house, my cars. I had so many chemicals left over. So I just decided to start a business, with it and help other people out. So the name of the game is just to really help a lot of people out.
Absolutely. When COVID first, was fresh on the scene, was work starting to dry up for you when everyone was having to quarantine and you had a lot of industrial places shutting down, sending, line workers home and all that? What were you doing for a living at that point?
Yeah, so I've worked in refineries, chemical plants, paper mills for the better part of 12 years. As a quality control inspector or manager. I was working down in Garyville, Louisiana as an inspector, and then our job got cut 4 weeks short. They laid me off. I'm just a subcontractor, so all my work was like kind of lined up with different companies. Basically you go to the highest bidder. Whoever's going to pay you the most is who you would take your job with. Well, all the jobs dried up. Got canceled, got pushed back to 2021. So May 13th, I got my layoff, and then the end of March 13th, I'm sorry about that. March 13th, I got a layoff. The end of March, she tested positive. So our future was really up in the air at that point.
Yeah, and the fact that you grew up with adversity, the fact that you're a fighter, so adversity is almost a welcome sight to you. When this started happening in your life, doors start closing. You're looking for other opportunities, or you're out hustling. Obviously, you've worked your connections to find this opportunity. What was your mindset at that point? Obviously, there was a lot of uncertainty. None of us really knew what we were up against. It's quite obvious that a lot more was made out of something than probably should have been, but here we are now. What was it about your upbringing, the fact that you fought through adversity so many times that it didn't really even faze you? You were just on to the next, one foot in front of the other, finding the next opportunity for yourself.
Yeah, man, I'm a firm believer you need to focus on solutions instead of problems. Problems present themselves on a daily basis. So if you spend too much time on that problem, you really get nowhere but spinning your tires in the mud. So we found a solution. I started my entrepreneurial journey in 2017 with wholesaling real estate. So I was going to pivot to that, but then my real estate investors at that time just weren't buying properties.
Yeah.
They were scared to, get in the market because they didn't know what the market was going to do. So, we kind of dodged around. I had to jump on unemployment for a few weeks. And then when I started my business, man, and it started taking off, I really couldn't have asked for a better, the COVID-19 pandemic was more of a blessing for me than, a heartache, through the adversity of, her testing positive, us unknown about the baby or whatever, through all of that, it's been more of a blessing for me, because if not, I'd still be probably trying to chase turnarounds, working on the roads and missing time for my children.
Now that you've really started to delve into living the life of an entrepreneur, right? So got your eyes down the road, you're making decisions with the future in mind and all of that. How have you found that living that entrepreneur life's different? Because you're actually buying your time back, like you just talked about. If this hadn't happened and you almost hadn't been forced to take this entrepreneurial step, you'd still be kind of living that where you're trading time for money, and now things are a little different for you. Can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, man. So like, I wanted to take this step for a long time. And I talk about this in my bio on my website, but so when I jumped into the wholesale real estate, I always kept it as a side hustle because Plan B always presented itself, and it always took me away from Plan A, which Plan A was being the entrepreneur, right? Plan B was working in the refineries, but it was hard to turn down $150,000 a year, $200,000 a year to just to something that's really unknown, right? So with the COVID-19 taking away Plan B completely, I had to go all in. I couldn't, just stop and just sit there and sulk in my sorrows. But I tell you what, man, it's more stressful at times. Like, 'cause, you never know. From week to week is different. Some weeks it might be good. We might spray 10 buildings that week and have a great week. Then the next week leads dry up, and we ain't got nothing to spray. And then, next week after that, maybe 2 weeks, we get back at it and going 100% again, balls to the wall. So the stress level's up a little bit, but like it don't bother me because I know through hard work and, dedication, the results will show.
Yeah, the tough thing about entrepreneurship is you've always got to have your eyes, like I said, down the road. And you can't ever be like, oh, well, too busy, close up shop, we're good to go. No, you got to keep signing and signing and signing, especially if you have staff and you're trying to build a team. Talk about the challenges of building a team right now. What's that been like for you?
Yeah, the challenge of building a team. So, like, I got a couple 1099 workers that'll work for me. A lot of jobs I'll try to do by myself. Try to continue putting more money back into the company, less money going out. Paying people. But when I got jobs far off now, I got jobs on the East Coast, Florida. So it's better for me to hire people to go do that. That way I can spend more time on building the brand and building the company. So the challenge with hiring people now. Nobody really wants to be hired. I mean, they draw unemployment. They're getting extra money a month from the federal government.
Incentive to be lazy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's hard because hey, we pay good money. I mean, not to throw the business out there, but we pay $20 an hour. And that's good because to me it's a hazardous environment. So I got to pay those guys for that time. And to some people it's worth it. Some people it's not. Some people's like, I can sit at home and draw $600-700 a week from unemployment. Why would I come work for you? So. You deal with those struggles, but, I got a couple loyal guys that I could always count on to come in and help me out when I need it.
That's good, man. Yeah, one thing we've learned through this whole pandemic thing is who people really are. Because we've talked a lot about adversity here in just the last few minutes, but when there's an opportunity hey, you can just sit at home and watch reruns of the Kelly Clarkson show and get unemployment, there's a lot of people taking that option. And those are not people that I want to be associated with because those are not the type of people who share my values.
That's correct, man. Some people that rather choose the easy path, should we say, it's not anybody I want in my circle. I don't associate with a lot of people that, I would call friends for the better part of 10 years. I don't associate with those people because they take that least resistant path in life, and they would always, not saying it's their fault. If I chose to do it, it was ultimately my fault, but they would always put me in situations that they knew that I was tempted to do, whether it's drinking a lot, staying out partying a lot. I don't want to do that, as a father. Ultimately as a father, because that to me that just sets a bad example for my children, and as a business owner it's not a good example for your business as well.
As a new entrepreneur, you've been in the entrepreneurial space, like you said, for a few years, but now you're really hot and heavy into it because you're totally focused on it. Talk about the importance to you of goal setting. Hey, man, I want to have a good year. But a good year comes down to 52 good weeks. What type of process do you have for setting goals for yourself? Are you setting like 1 week goals or 1 month goals, or how's that work for you?
Yeah, so I really believe in setting smaller goals and to ultimately get you to your bigger goal. So we take the goals down. We call them milestones, with our company and our team. So we try to set weekly milestones, whether it's making 100 cold calls to try to land a job, because that's what we got to do sometimes. We're a new business startup. Leads don't come in, but or whether it's we got 10 jobs this week. Let's see if we can do 15 this week. And we've been really blessed with putting businesses, companies under contract with us or agreements with us to get reoccurring work,
repeat
nice. Work. So right now, our ultimate goal by December 31st is to have at least 6 figures under agreements or contracts with us, because we're almost there. We're almost at that halfway point, and I feel like by December 31st we could definitely hit that 6-figure mark.
That's awesome. And it seems like you're going to have a perpetual demand for your service moving forward, because we just had a pandemic that nobody planned on. It came in out of the blue, and obviously I don't think anybody's going to take a step back with regard to caution. So what types of buildings and facilities are you guys disinfecting? Schools and things like that?
Yeah, so we've gotten a lot of government buildings, courthouses, sheriff's departments, churches. Churches have been a really big thing for us. There's one church we went and looked at last week. They closed the doors. I think it was he told me March 15th. They haven't opened them since. And I went and did a quote, and they haven't opened their doors till I walked in that day. And it needs a lot of work, and it has mold, mildew. So churches have been a big thing for us. Schools we've targeted, but mainly it's been government buildings. We do distribution warehouses. That's what we got on the East Coast. Some Home Depot distribution warehouses. That's what we tackle out there. Schools, we reach out to the schools. We're working actually some numbers for the local school districts just to do their buses, because they already got a contractor for the schools. They don't have their buses under contract, so we're working right now to do the buses, just their buses alone. We just put in some numbers for 27 one main financial offices. So, stuff like that, office buildings. We've scaled back on because when we first jumped into it, we really didn't know what to charge. Like I said, we were new to the space. We're a service industry. I didn't know what the hell to charge. So at the first few weeks, we were charging more than we should have, and we made a great return. But then I wasn't getting a repeat business, right? So we knew that was a fuck up on our part. So we went in, corrected everything, and now all we do is put out numbers for 6 to 12 month contracts. We're not going to turn down a job saying, "Oh, we only want it sprayed one time," but it would benefit them to get it done for a 6-month process when it's just a few $100s more than just getting it done one time.
Well, and a repeat client base says a lot about you, right?
That's
that
right.
You're consistent, that you're reliable, that you communicate, that you have good systems and processes, right? And that they can set their watch by you. They know, hey, Bubba said he's going to do this, and Bubba always does what Bubba always says he'll do. How important is that to you in terms of building your brand?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I really believe relationships with people is what's going to make or break a business. If you got shitty relationships, you just might as well sign your check and get out the door, because you're not going to get anywhere. I feel like building relationships. We do a lot of pro bono work. We do a lot for the police department. We do any police cars that we do 100% free. That's just us giving back to them.
Good for y'all, man.
Yeah, man.
Back the blue. That's badass.
And that's something I vowed to do from day one. Even if we're in the trenches and we haven't made $1 in a month, a police department calls them and they want their cars done, we'll come in and do them for free. And that's just our part giving back. Some people say it's it's whatever your views are, but that's just how we do our business. Whether people like it or not.
Well, I mean, hey, it doesn't matter what your politics are. When the boogeyman's at the door, you're dialing 911, because that's what you do. And taking care of people like that's awesome that you guys do that. I mean, that really is. I mean, that says a lot about what y'all are about, that you that you help out the community in that way. That's super important, and it's taking a burden off the community too for having to pay for that themselves. Everybody's a little strapped right now. That's good stuff. So when you go into a building to disinfect, what does the solution that's coming out of your fogger, what does it kill or clean?
All right, so it's Enlist product. We use the Enlist, which is a list compiled by the EPA. It's EPA registered, and it can kill bacteria, molds, and viruses, even the COVID-19 virus, right? And so we spray 2 solutions. One of the solution disinfects the surface area, and one of them protects the surface area for up to 90 days. It really depends on the atmosphere of that area. If it's outside, we can spray a park bench. It's not going to last for the full 90 days, right? Because, acidic rain and, a lot of other weather conditions really play a part in that. But there's been a lot of test trials and a lot of studies show that with swabbing that area over a 90-day period, depends on, like I said, the conditions, the where to use, how often you're cleaning with harsh chemicals, that if that product lasts for the full 90 days or not. So that's what we use. It's a product called PureTech. We work with other chemical companies as well. Disingerm's another one we work with. Their products do the same thing, and we work with them because theirs is more of a it disinfects, but it also deodorizes. So like we sprayed a locker room that smelled like complete ass last weekend. And the coach called me yesterday, and the coach is a good friend of mine, called me and said, man, our locker room still smells like lemony fresh that you sprayed.
It's awesome.
And it smelled like complete ass when I walked in. So we sprayed it, and and they're really happy with the product, and they probably end up buying the product just to, because they use a chemical now that they get from Home Depot, and that's good stuff, but we got endless products, which is compiled by the EPA, and that right now is what's really good for the COVID. It's not only great for COVID, because we really don't market too hard on the COVID, because we know that eventually it's inevitable. You're not going to be able to.
Yeah.
So it's great for flu. It's great for staph. It's great for molds. We're targeting ads right now with where the hurricanes just hit, Lake Charles, Mobile, Pensacola, Orange, Texas, for mold prevention. We want to reach out to those people. If they're looking for a company to come in and spray and disinfect, or just spray and, kind of for like a mold prevention for what has gotten flooded, we'll come in and do that for them as well.
Man, that's awesome. So anybody watching this that wants to reach out to you, how can they reach out to you directly via email or your website?
Yeah, so my email is Bubba, Bubba, @moneylabor.net, or they can reach out to me on our Facebook page, Prolific Cleaning Solutions on Facebook, and we could text disinfect to 31996.
That's handy.
Yeah,
that's awesome. You guys can also reach out to me. You can hit me on my Instagram @Jess from the Northwest, or you can email me live@autographconstruction.com. I'll hook you up with Bubba as well. Bubba, thanks for your time, man.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.